Robert Saleh knows, hey, we either win or, we're all getting fired here. Joe Douglas, has he built up a roster that's good? How about the decisions, that he has made over this all? Haasan Reddick wants to be traded.
Yes.
Has not gone to a meeting, a walkthrough, a practice, a nothing with the New York Jets after requesting a trade from the Philadelphia Eagles. Gets traded to the New York Jets. Has a press conference where he lays out everything. And a lot of people saw this clip floating around the internet yesterday after he officially requested a trade from the New York Jets. Once again, a team that he has done nothing with. Robert Saleh, before the mandatory minicamp, said, we know Haasan Reddick's got it going on. He's got good work ethic. We know exactly where he is. We expect him to be here. Whenever this was the
unexcused
absences by Haasan Reddick and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron's getting fined. Haasan Reddick obviously getting fined, but we know he's good. We know he's going to be here. Well, he's not. And this is what he said the first day he became a New York Jet at his podium in his press conference. And a lot of people are saying he lied. I literally kind of covered all of his bases here. So this is one of the greatest answers I've ever heard in a press conference from a player for this entire situation to end up happening.
How do you look at it? Is it you're on the last year of your contract? You said, it's a business. Is this a place you hope is a long-term home? Are you looking at this like a one-year situation, or how do you believe there's a chance you guys could get an extension done?
All options are open. Right now, currently just worried about being here, meeting everybody that's in the building today. Contractual stuff, I'm leaving that up to my agent and Joe to figure out. But whatever happens, I'm going to be happy for. I'm going to give my all, no matter what. That's just who I am as a person. So no matter how it goes, how many years, I'm going to be here for however long I'm here for, and I'm going to give the team, the fans, everything that I have.
And he has.
That's true.
On his Instagram as a New York Jet, he was in Japan.
Yep.
And he gave the Jets fans everything they could have asked for as a tour, as if you were in Japan alongside of him. In that press conference, I think he gave everything that he had to give. He gave himself all the outs imaginable in that answer, never lied once. Yep. And I think he understood whenever you get traded to a team, whenever you're seeking a new contract and that contract doesn't get settled before the trade, it doesn't mean that it's going to get settled after the trade either. And obviously this is a big talking point because of what's going on with Ayuk right now, but this is a nightmare situation for Joe Douglas and the New York Jets. They thought they were adding another all-pro, another superstar to the defense. Instead, it seemingly has just been another distraction for a New York Jets organization that has seemingly had enough of those to go around for, the last 50 years or so. It's a wild scene over there with Haasan Reddick.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. Obviously, for Haasan, I'm sure he wants to be in camp. He wants to be with his new team. He obviously asked out of being in Philly. Bryce Huff, he moved on to Philly, so you would have thought this deal would have almost been done before he even got over there. That's usually how these things happen with a vet that wants to get paid at the point in his career where it's probably his last big payday coming off the edge. Been extremely productive, been healthy. So it's surprising that Joe Douglas and the Jets hasn't figured it out. I know Joe Douglas put out a pretty straight to the point statement yesterday after the trade request came out. But this is wild. You want to get this figured out as soon as possible if you're the New York Jets.
We have informed Haasan that we will not trade him, actually. We've never even seen what you're like in our building. We don't even think you ate our food here the day that you were here for the press conference. Kind of easy come, easy go. We have informed Haasan we will not trade him, that he's expected to be here with his teammates, that he's never met most of them, and that he will continue to be fined per the CBA if he does not report. Since the trade discussions back in March, we have been clear, direct, and consistent with our position. Our focus will remain on the guys we have here as we prepare for the regular season. That's straight from the office of Joe Douglas. The Jets are the best.
Yep.
The Jets are the absolute best. This is such a Jets thing to happen, and I think their fans are probably saying that and echoing that sentiment loud and clear.
Well, and getting a player, sure, excuse me, and that's one thing, but with Joe Douglas, it's like, hey, buddy, you gave up picks for this guy. You didn't just sign him to a one-year deal.
Jeez, you okay? You choked up by the Jets. You picked them to be in the Super Bowl.
I know, that is why I'm kind of choked up, is because I did kind of expect the Jets to maybe have this happen later on in the year, but for this to happen before anything even starts, this is the earliest.
4 plays was the Aaron situation, incredibly unlucky.
Yeah.
Haasan Reddick, the next All-Pro you bring in. not even a walkthrough.
None.
Kind of
Trade for dude. At least give him. Do you give him a couple dollars for this season and then just let him play on a 1-year deal? Like, how do you even get out of something like this? Because you can't trade him again.
The fines are getting big too.
Oh yeah,
they are getting large. Preseason games account for
game checks,
like actual game checks. Even though you're only making $1,800, they're taking whatever the regular season is. So that tally's running up quickly. And it's like, I assume Haasan has seen in the past where teams are able to make up for that in the new contract. It's like, okay, we'll add on $750,000. We'll add on $1.25 million worth of the fines onto the contract, onto the back end to kind of make up for it, because CBA has defined that we have to fine you this particular amount. But this whole situation, now who's going to want to trade for him? This is a team that's going to have to pay him before they trade for him and give up assets before even understanding. And I saw Lombardi talk about this, and obviously Lombardi's been around the NFL for so damn long. Now he's part of the Washington training camp alongside Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. Which
Look out.
Loves the Jets.
At this stage, At this stage of it all, who's going to want to pick up the Haasan Reddick situation? You know, and obviously he's a phenomenal football player, but this is obviously going to take a lot to get him in the building. And if Joe Douglas wasn't able to get it done, is there anybody else that's going to want to sign up to get it done at this particular stage? Who knows? You can be who you can afford to be. And Haasan Reddick is an absolute dog, but he's never done anything for the Jets for them to experience that he is the guy. So the fact that he hasn't even been in a meeting, they haven't even heard him talk, haven't seen him on a practice field. Oh, this guy goes 100% every single day. He's going to lift the energy of our room. They have no idea if that's true. They have no clue what it is. What an interesting quagmire that they are seemingly going to be impickled with for at least the foreseeable future.
Just makes no sense, because they said that, you know, their position has been clear and concise from the start, but they absolutely knew he wanted a new deal when he got traded. So I wonder if they were just like, we're just not going to pay him, and he's probably going to forget before the start of the season. We'll be fine. He'll go out there and play. Like, they're at it. Both sides are at an impasse. I don't know how this, you know, like the Jets have basically said, hey, we're not going to give you a new deal or whatever you want. And he's been pretty consistent with, okay, well, then I won't be there. So, like, there's only one way this gets done, and it doesn't look like they're any closer to it getting done than they were when they first traded for him.
Just tried to FaceTime Greeny just to get his immediate reaction.
Sure.
You know, and I'm sure he has already talked about and everything. I think he is currently golfing with his kid. But, like, this isn't supposed to happen in 2024.
No way.
Especially with the relationships that agents have with GMs and the amount of people that agents rep. So, like, we do deals with a lot of people, so our relationship has to be pretty good, pretty sound, or at least we understand each other. So for the fact that a trade to go through and be approved before one of the stipulations pretty much for the person to show up gets agreed to, just seems like malpractice. Like, you know, it does seem like kind of malpractice in this entire thing. I don't know by who. Like, agent? Jets? Like, was there a belief? This is a massive fuck up, though, in 2024, when you would assume that this has already been, all these things have been figured out. Great player, new contract, wanting to be traded, team wants him, you know he wants a new contract. We've seen this song and dance plenty of times in the history of the NFL. We all kind of see how this is going to go. So I don't know how we even get here.
And then you if you're Joe Douglas and the Jets, like, you let Bryce Huff, who was your most productive pass rusher last year, young guy as well, you let him leave the building to make a trade for Haasan. So you see it, you know, you talked about Saleh saying, hey, pretty much we're all on the hot seat here. So you're bringing in a proven pro who will at least give you this production for at least a year or two. So to not have anything, doesn't seem close to even a deal being done with these both sides. It's wild to see at this point in the game.
Hey, it was a good press conference, though. We ran a clip.
Great, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And cool walk down Japan. But, like, for you two, if you're in that building and you've been on the Jets and this situation's going on and someone that you don't even know, like, what is the locker room? Like, what do they say?
I don't think anybody cares.
No.
The locker room does not care. We don't even know this guy. I assume some people know him, like, as a friend, but he's never been in here, is how I think that would kind of be the view. When he shows up, like, let's say it gets, it'll be a big, whoa,
This
hey, like, legitimately welcome back in, but they've already built their team without this guy. So it's no real, in my perspective.
You are kind of, I would be kind of side-eye in the front office, though, especially if you're a vet and you're on that defense, because this isn't like, this is your pass rusher. You expect him to probably be your premier pass rusher. So if you're a corner or a safety, you're sauce, you one of these guys, like, hey, you gave up some assets to get this guy in the building. building. And whether you know him personally or not, you know he's a proven pro, and he's done it year in and year out. So you definitely want him in that building. We saw even one of the best pass rushers in the game, Nick Bosa. He kind of drugged this out, with the Niners, and he kind of didn't get going until a few weeks into the season. So you want that guy in the building. You want him fresh. You want him getting football reps, especially if you're on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think side-eyeing the front office is probably a move that locker room has done.
A couple times, yeah.
You mentioned New York, New Jersey. What's going on with Haasan Reddick in his whole situation? Now requesting a trade from the Jets, and he hasn't even been there yet. How do you see this thing kind of playing out?
Well, they're in a tough spot, both sides right now, because essentially Haasan Reddick shows up to the Jets complex after the trade's completed, goes through the introductory press conference, praises the organization, takes his physical, and basically that's the last time we've seen or heard from Haasan Reddick until he issues the trade request, which obviously the Jets say they're not going to honor. So we've got a guy who says he's not showing up without a contract. We've got a team who says they're not paying the player unless he shows up. We've got both sides dug in to their stances, and we've got a situation that doesn't help anybody. So at some point in time, somebody has to step up and try to figure out a solution to this particular situation that is dragged on during the offseason into training camp. 4.5 months right now. Haasan Reddick is scheduled to make $14.25 million in the last year of his deal. It's exactly why Philadelphia traded him. The Eagles were not prepared to pay him what he wanted. The Jets thought they might be able to work out a deal, but they stopped talking to him. The last offer that they made to him essentially was right at the time of the trade. It was a subpar offer in Haasan Reddick's estimation and opinion. He didn't take it, and there have been no further contract talks since then.
Hey.
And so now we're at a stalemate.
Yeah. Is that that doesn't seem normal in 2024 because there's like precedent of these types of trades that have happened in the past. So somebody fucking it up feels Bush. Is that like, should we be viewing it as like this feels amateur? Like, does it? And is that how we should be viewing it? Or does this happen more often and we just don't know about it because it's not like all pro caliber player to a team that is allegedly trying to win a Super Bowl or bust this year? So like, you wouldn't think that would happen with that type of organization or program. But then I guess, does this happen often? And I just am lapse of memory here.
Well, I think it's a little bit unusual. I don't remember a situation going on like this where a team traded for a guy and the guy's requested a trade before he ever really stepped foot into that building to play a down for that team. That's a little bit unusual. It feels a little bit like Bill Belichick resigning as the head coach of the New York Jets 4 or 5 minutes after he's going to get the job. Like, it's the modern day player version of that. And I think the unfortunate part is that somehow this became public. Like, these two sides should have handled it privately and gotten it resolved before it got to this point in time. But both sides feel very strongly about their particular stances and where they're coming from. And the Jets feel like they don't want to reward a player who stayed away, demanded a trade without ever having taken part in a practice for that team. The player feels like, I'm an elite pass rusher. You need me to make a playoff run. You should be paying me what some of the top pass rushers are making, considering I'm making $14.25 million this year. And so they're at a standstill. So again, somebody's got to step forward and figure out a solution. They each have said what they want. It's gone public. We can debate the merits of each side. What are they doing to advance this, to get it solved before they open the season in San Francisco on Monday night in a few weeks?
Does Reddick represent himself?
No, he's got an agent.
Okay, so that's even more so. Like, I don't know how we get to this point because of I assume Haasan Reddick isn't the only player that this agent reps, and I assume there's other business that has been done between Joe Douglas and his agent. So to get to this point just seems like an incredible amount of miscommunication and almost just like malpractice out of business sense to get it figured out and get it sorted, which leads to the Ayuk situation that is currently happening right now. To get that entire thing sorted, we're kind of learning right in front of us what is the possibilities.